At Bath Savings, you know us for our exceptional customer service. And that service extends to our secure online and mobile banking solutions, so you can feel comfortable accessing and managing your accounts wherever you are. And it's all backed by the same personalized customer service from neighbors right here in your community. To learn more about Bath Savings online and mobile banking solutions, visit bathsavings.com. Bath Savings, your neighbor, your bank.
Hager Enterprises, a paving and excavation contractor specializing in all sorts of site work, utility installations, and road construction since 1987.
Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of High School Hoops. I'm your host Larry Seidlinger, and today we got on the hot seat Coach Ryan Ball from the Lincoln Academy Eagles, longtime coach at Lincoln. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now you've been up to LA now like a decade, or a little bit more.
A little bit more.
A decade and a half if you throw in your freshman.
Yep.
Last year was probably as good a year as you've had since you've been there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You brought respectability back to the program. It had really tanked, so to speak. Had some really tough years there, but this year you're looking at a whole different set of circumstances because you're rebuilding or reloading. I like to say it because you lost 5 players off your starting team, 5 starters off that team, senior-laden team. What do you got for us this year?
I think we're going to be as good defensively as we were last year. I think it's going to be a different style. We got to. I think our game is more.
You're not playing zone this year, are you?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to give anything away right now, but we'll throw different things, that's for sure, because we're not as consistent offensively, and we're going to take a while to find that consistency. I think. I hope that we can find a couple that we know we're going to score. They're 12, 14 a night, but it's right now not real clear who's going to do the scoring.
So let's back up and talk a little bit about that last year's team. You went 15-3 regular season, 17-4 overall. Had a great tournament run.
Yeah.
Lost eventual to Oceanside, which was the Southern Divisional champion. You not only had a great team on the floor, you had a great bunch of fans in the stands behind you.
Yeah.
You got the MVP of fans in the stands last year.
Yeah. The community has been so great. Anyway, the last 4 or 5 years, it's really been starting to grow, and
you win and they will come.
Yeah, you win and they will come, and they could see it coming as we put a lot of work into the younger kids. I mean, we've been, that's where when I first got the job, I went right down. That group that graduated last year was 4th grade when I took over.
Let's talk about you're building a PE program. How important is that to your system?
It's everything. I mean, when I got here, they were good kids. They weren't really basketball players. Every once in a while you get a couple that were decent basketball players, but they hadn't played together, and we are at a disadvantage with 5 or 6 different grade schools that we're drawing from. So in the off seasons now, we put them all together and are playing a lot more. We're playing 20 games, 30 games in the summer and fall, spring, doing all that with them. So it really builds the program up.
I want to ask you about your fall program and your spring program, which is. I won't say it's different, but it's probably more expanded than it was even as little as 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every year this year we had 2 5th, 6th grade teams, had a 7th, 8th going all fall, played 12, 14 games, and we practice them together and try to implement what we're trying to do at the high school. We,
Same style,
make the drills a little easier at times and build up to it, and, teach that, basket line, 1 pass away, 2 pass away, all that stuff that when I first got here, there was just no understanding of it.
And commitment to a team.
And commitment. And the commitment that's what's been really unbelievable is the parents. I mean, they drop everything for me. If I call, say, hey, I got a tournament this weekend in Bangor, they go. And the kids want to go anyway, but the parents have been. And I think that's what you see in the community at our games.
The successful programs you see around the state, the Yarmouth, the Orono, Oceanside, Madomic, that's exactly what they have. Big numbers in their Pee Wee program, and it just it shines by the time they get to the high school level.
Yeah, and I mean, when I first got the job, it didn't take me very long to figure out what I had to do. I mean, you
It's a lot more than just X's and O's.
Oh, the seasons, the fun is the easy part. You know, once we get into this high school season, it's pretty easy. You know, you're doing what you've built the whole program for, but the off-season stuff, but nobody sees how much work, and it takes more than just me too. I mean, I've had some help, and I always could have used more, but there's been some key parents, key people. You know, Seth Hager was huge, Robbie Hunt's been huge. You know, and I don't want to leave anybody out but there's been a lot of people that have been involved. It's really made the program, really helped the program.
So let's talk about this year's team. You got you had a JV team that was really, really good last year. Surprised a lot of people, I thought. But they were really, really good. Those guys have moved up. What do you got for us? And your own boy Tyson had that terrible injury late in the season there, and probably broke his heart. He couldn't play in the tournament. You know I had to see it on the floor, but you had to listen to it at home.
Oh, I did, yeah. And he's worked hard at getting it, you know, healed and getting back on the court. The last week of fall, we got him into a couple games for a couple minutes. He played Saturday, when we played a couple games. He looks good. We just got to get him in game shape. So, and as far as the JV team, you know, coming up, we have a lot of experience on our varsity team this year. It's just not they're used to that second role, not the head role and the lead role, and they're going to need to figure that part out. But they want to do it. You know, the twins are.
I was going to say your Hunt boys will be the leaders.
They
some
want
senior leadership.
Yeah, on the court. You know, Tyson's the captain of the ship when it comes to leading on the floor. I feel like he's you know, on the bench and everything. He's kind of everybody looks to him to, you know, kind of like the coach that's not the coach, but he does a good job.
Well, he's big enough to make sure everybody stays in line. That's for
yeah,
sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, and my nephew Sammy, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do this year. I mean, he's always been in behind the scenes doing little things. It's been good. So all those kids are going to step up, you know, and there's more. We got 10 seniors. So
10 seniors.
AJ Giberson, Chase Coffin, you know, those guys are all returners that were never really anybody had noticed, but they're as defensively especially as good as I feel is what we had last year. Offensively is going to be fine.
What are your lower grades, your JV and your freshman teams look like?
I'm really excited about the freshman team. I mean, that freshman team reminds me a lot of what we have now and what we had last year. They're fast. They play the style I want to play. They've been with me for years now, so I'm really excited about them. The JV group, you know, we have 2 or 3 swingers that are going to be important to our JV and learn varsity minutes. You know, they'll get a few here and there. And so I think all 3 teams are going to be very difficult each night. And
talk a little about your coach staff. Rand Maker's with you again this year?
Rand Maker, yeah.
One more year?
One more year. He promised me, I don't know, when Tyson came into high school, I said, you gotta see him out. So he's supposedly this is his last year, but I'll, you know.
Well, we know he can coach, but he can't paddle a pumpkin with beans.
No, that's right.
We saw his pumpkin paddling ability. And your freshman coach,
Cody Toja.
Toja.
Yeah.
He did a nice job last year for you.
Yeah, he's so different than Rand and I. You know, of course I coached him, and he's a much different coach than he was player. He was very dynamic and he was a fantastic player, but he was a handful at times. But coaching, he's very soft-spoken, laid back. The kids really responded well to him. Whereas, like, even in practice, you know, I'm all over the place, hollering, screaming, and he's very laid back. And we have a good
balance.
And Rand's always, you know, he's always throwing in something that may not even have anything to do with basketball, but it always makes you, you know, kind of think like, yeah, make
good
sense.
Stuff. Yeah, talk about your schedule a little bit. You got some teams that you hadn't seen before. Spruce Mountain is coming to play this year.
Yeah, Spruce is circled on the calendar for sure. They're going to be tough.
They ventured down. They're playing Madomic this year down here, and I think they're playing Oceanside this year.
Yeah, I feel like I
wonder why.
Well, I feel like they're always pretty good, but they don't play the schedule the rest of us play, and when they get to the tournament, it shows. You know, they're not battle tested. I feel like they bulked the schedule up a little bit, and sometimes 3 or 4 losses doesn't hurt you. So I think they're going to be a very good team and one of the better in the South. So we got to pay attention to them. You know, we got Madomic twice on the schedule. We got Oceanside twice. I got York. All those games.
Cape Elizabeth.
We're at Cape.
Cape is always
That's the second game of the year. That's going to be
pretty competitive.
Interesting. So
who's the team to beat along the coast here this year?
Madomic.
You think so?
I do. I think they've got size, they've got guards, and just what we keep talking about is experience. I mean, they've got more experience than. I mean, Oceanside has some experience, but they a lot like us lost a couple keys. So I think Madomic is. And the thing about Madomic is you can, whether they're good offensively or not, defensively they're going to be one of the best every night. So they're just one of those teams you dread playing. So it's.
Who's your dark horse this year?
I hope us. I don't think anybody thinks that we're, you lose 5 starters. I think that we're going to be okay, but I hope it's us.
Well, I'll confirm that the other coaches I've had, Coach Larry Reed and Coach Nick DePatsy, both said the same thing. Watch Lincoln Academy. It's going to be a dark horse this year.
Yeah, I think it could be. I worry about a slow start, and I worry about little hiccups in the middle. But I think as the season goes, I think you're going to see a team that nobody's going to want to play.
What's it going to take to be a top 8 tournament team this year? 10-8?
Top 8? Yeah, probably 10-8.
Top 4?
Top 4 is going to be 13-5, 14-4. Yep. I mean, that's the goal. So you want to get in that top 4.
Which you accomplished number 2 last year.
Yep.
Was that a little bit of a surprise going in?
Not.
I know your team last year was gunning to beat Madomic.
Yeah. Oh,
They surprised you at home,
Yeah.
and you took it to them over to Madomic. So payback was probably kind of fun.
Yes, it was fun, but that's something we've carried a long time because Madomic's had our number for a long time, and it almost was getting the best of me. So that was probably more important to me than it was to the kids. I mean, it's just that program's good every year, and I think all of us are trying to implement something like that.
Well, you measure yourself by successful programs.
So I feel like we're getting closer and closer. So but 2 is I guess a surprise, but I knew our kids were good. I mean, and we were, as the season went on, you could see us really getting good.
A lot of confidence.
A lot of confidence.
I thought the last probably 5 or 6 games, last 30 of the season, you played as well as anybody along the coast here. You played with a lot of confidence, and certainly I think you cemented that with that win over Madomic that night.
Yep. Yes, and the win in the semifinals against York. I mean, that was one of my favorite. I mean, we stuck to the game plan, and that was an amazing game for us. That's probably my favorite ever.
That was a fun game.
That was a
Go
fun
back
game.
and watch that one.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about how has TV changed, or do you use being able to watch the games in your coaching philosophy? Do you like have a game film day?
Yeah, so we do different. It depends on when we play them in the week, how much we have for rest. If you play a Friday and you have until the following Friday off, then we do focus on that team we're playing Friday. We do a lot of short film things. With my kids, they're constantly picking things apart that you're not really trying to focus on. They like to have their own ideas. So we pick little pieces. We usually do 20 minutes or half an hour of a film day before games, and we do it before most games. We don't do it before every game, but I watch film every day. I'm watching film already, and I've watched my team from last year just to see what worked and what didn't to implement with this group, even though they're different.
Do you find when you talk to the kids about a game, you've seen it? I told you didn't box out.
Oh, yeah.
See, there it is.
Yeah. Well, and because
the video doesn't lie.
The video doesn't lie, and we do talk about that because there's a lot of times where even if sometimes they're throwing their hands up at the refs, or the refs they don't think they cost us a game. Yeah. I mean, we show that stuff. Yeah. Because I hate the attitude or the hands up in the air and all that, and we'll pick that out of and say, you're doing it every call. You got to stop. We do stuff like that, but most of it's based on what defenses they played, what offenses we played, why didn't our press work that game, or why didn't it for the first half if they did the second half, what we adjusted.
It is a tool you've been able to turn to.
Completely. Oh, yeah.
Has that changed over the certainly since COVID started? Now everybody is filming. Before COVID, not everybody was filming. There was some tape delay more. I guess it's more readily available now.
Yeah, I mean, so I felt like, and I think Patsy felt the same way. I mean, we were always kind of at a disadvantage because you were taping our games and we couldn't find other people's games. And every one of our games were on TV. So now we can easily find people. So, I mean, I use it all the time. So for sure, and I'm sure he does.
There's a lot of copycats out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ryan, How has the AAU summer program or even spring program improved the high school level of play, in your opinion?
I don't know. So with my program, what we've done is since up to this year's group, there's been very little AAU. It's been all just team stuff. Most of my players, we had a couple. I know Tucker Stiles played some AAU. Offensive stuff, it's good. They're playing basketball. So it's good stuff. It's all good, and I don't mean to slam AAU because I'm not, but it's not my favorite brand of basketball when you go watch it. I mean, it's
more of a run and gun.
It's just a run and throw, two
stuff.
pass, 3-pointer, Boston Celtics type basketball, which is great at times, but in the high school level, you've got to play defense. You got to have team involved, and AAU's a lot of times you got one man. They're running around and just run and shoot. So
you guys shot the three pretty well last year.
Yeah,
and certainly the 3-point shot has changed the high school game. And even though it's been around for 25 years or plus, it seems like in the last, 5 or 6 or 7 years, the 3-point has become more of an offensive weapon.
Yeah.
Is it because kids can shoot it better?
Yeah, I mean,
percentage is a lot better.
And maybe that's some of AAU. I don't know, but you watch when our kids get in the gym. They get ready, they stretch about 2%.
First thing they do is 3-point.
They're going right to 3-point land. So it's, and we try to get away from that and make them do different stuff. But when they're first getting in the gym or they go to the Y, they're shooting threes. That's part of the game now. When you watch all the successful teams now do, Celtics, they're shooting 25, 30 3-pointers a game.
You're going to match up against Madomic that can play back to the basket with the big guys.
Yeah.
How are you going to handle that?
I think I don't know. We'll see. I haven't thought a lot about Madomic yet. We've scrimmaged them some this summer. We haven't we've battled them. We haven't beaten them yet. But none of us have shown anything of what we're actually going to do either. It's the same, just half-court man mostly. But we've got some size. We're physical. I feel like our guards can match up. So it will be a battle, no question. If Schumann goes off like he did last year in our place,
surprise!
when talk about watching tape, we watched tape and Schumann was never mentioned before that game. So good for him though. But it was.
Oh, he's a kid that can shoot. I don't think he ever showed it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you knew he could shoot, but you didn't think he was going to score the first, 21 points or whatever. he was going off, so it was that wasn't a good thing. But we can, they're big. They're big, they're strong, lashes inside out. That's a problem for us because our bigs aren't as inside out as him. Tyson, he's quicker, So we'll see. We've got some things we can do, and we can battle them.
Do you have Belfast on your schedule
this
year?
Yep.
They're going to surprise some people.
Yep. And maybe when you talk about dark horses, that's they're definitely because they've brought in some kids.
Yeah, I look at the Belfast team and talking with Coach Reed and Coach DePatsy, they both said the same thing. That could easily be a 500 team this year where for the past, I don't know how many years, Belfast, if they won 2 or 3 games.
Right.
But they've got the Ripley kid there that's transferred, a couple other transfers have come in.
Yeah.
That could be a dark horse.
Definitely.
They're certainly going to be worth some turning points.
Oh yeah, well, and that's very true. And DePatsy and I were talking about him the other day because it's definitely we both have him twice. I don't know, but he opens up with them. But
he does.
Yeah. So that's especially not being able to watch him ahead of time. It's going to be a little bit of a game that's a mystery because Ripley's tough, and the guards I don't know them. I don't know who they are. So we'll kind of go in blind and see what happens. But
and they've picked up a new coach, Coach Ripley up there.
Yeah.
Is that his name, Ripley? Too?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know him.
His son is the transfers.
Right.
And he's done a lot of AAU coaching, so he knows the game. So that will be a dark horse. Who else on your schedule do you look for to? You don't have there's not a lot of easy nights along in a high school season.
So it's funny you say this because Tyson and I were talking about it on the bus ride home because I worry about Winslow. I love that Rodrigue kid they have. He's a great guard and they're coached well. So I worry about Winslow. We go there. We open up with MCI, and then we have at Cape and then at Winslow, and that's interesting schedule to me. I'm a little worried about those 2 away games just because, they're not. They may not be better than us on paper, but they're going to be a problem. You know, they're going to be a handful.
Well, certainly it's a long ride to Spruce, long ride to Mountain Valley.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're home against Mountain Valley though.
Okay.
Yeah, we are home against them.
You only play those once, right?
Once, yep.
Yeah. What else, if you had your druthers, what else would you, probably you don't want to tell anybody anything about what you're doing, but what else is about the Lincoln Academy Eagles should somebody watch out for?
I think our depth. I think we've got tons of depth.
We got 10 seniors.
We got 10 seniors, and not all those seniors are experienced. You know, we've got a couple seniors that nobody knows.
Who's the dark horse on your own team?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rowan Donahue is going to be fun to watch. He's still learning our defensive schemes and effort that he has to put in physicality-wise, but offensively he's so close to being really, really good. So he's kind of a dark horse. You know, I think Terry Welly's going to be. He's got some size, and he's one of our bigs that he can move pretty well. He's looked good so far.
Do you have the big, tall young man that played JV last year?
Otto Schoenthal?
Yes.
Yep, he's back.
That's
another senior that.
That's a tall timber.
Yep, he's tall. He's 6'7", so
Yeah.
he's a big kid. But experience-wise, that's the one downfall. He just doesn't have a lot of it. But when he played JV, it was first game of the year, and to when he started playing that 13th, 14th, 15th game, he was very good.
Yeah, he's
So,
pretty athletic.
He's athletic. He just doesn't play a lot of basketball. You know, like a lot of these kids.
It's not his
breathe
favorite
it. It's
sport.
not it. You know, he likes. He's into some sailing stuff and things like that are all good too.
So you got good size, 6'7". Tyson's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, and I got another 6'4". I mean, we got some size. We got some quickness. We can play. You know, like I said, I think it's going to be a possession game for us. I think we're going to want more possessions in the game this year. Last year, we could do it either way. This year, I think we're going to want to go fast. The half-court sets haven't been beautiful yet, but it's early. So.
You got a Christmas tournament.
Christmas tournament, yep.
You're down at the Expo.
Got two games down there.
Is that a round-robin tournament, or is that just you're going to play two? And
you just play two games. I mean, you kind of pick the days you want to go, and we've done it for years now. I just think it's so important to get the kids on the Expo floor. So it's, comes big in playoffs, so those lights don't mean, and shooting in the backboard that has nothing in the back,
are the kids a little awestruck going into the Expo?
No.
Are they just kids? Okay,
they haven't been in, we've played really good at the Expo through my years when we've been there. I mean, we've been in playoffs 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. And last year, I thought we played the best up until obviously the regional. And I don't know if it wasn't the location as much as it was, the York game. We played so well, it almost felt like we had achieved our accomplishment. And I couldn't reel them in to realize.
Had one more.
We had to get through, and Oceanside was our Achilles heel last year anyway. I mean, we lost 4 games, they beat us 3 times. Once by 2, and the other 2 times were 20, beat us by over 20. So
yeah,
it was just one of those teams that just had their number.
Well, that particular team had a lot of people's numbers in the last couple of years. I mean, they were very talented, well coached, very talented, and the only one to beat them was Orono.
That's right.
Orono had that number.
They did 2 years in a row, right?
Orono had that number. Coming out of the north, who do you see is going to be difficult?
I think Caribou's really good. I watched them a couple weekends ago. We were at fall ball. I was watching Tice because it was his first games back. I wanted to see him, and they looked really good. Presque Isle played Ellsworth while I was there. I watched a little bit of that, and both those teams. I mean, they're a Madomic or Oceanside, and I would like to include us now. But they're year after year reload. It seems like every year they're
county
good.
Ball.
Yep, and so I think those 3 teams are good. I haven't seen MDI, but I've heard they're good. So I think that they're a lot like us. They got those 6-7 teams that can beat up on each other and be very, very difficult to play.
In the south, I guess it's right along the coast here, as well as Yarmouth, maybe?
Yeah, and York makes me nervous. I mean, they lost.
They're always pretty competitive.
Yeah, and I don't know what they had for JV team, but I know when we beat them last year, their guards were good, but they graduated them. They got their big back. I'm sure they're going to be right in the mix.
So this is off that little bit, but I heard the big kid from Messalonsky has transferred. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I hadn't heard that.
that big 6'8", 6'10" guy, 6'11"
He's
guy.
a good player.
He was a good player, and his senior year, he's gone to prep school somewhere. So
Really?
I didn't know, but you had heard anything.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so
No?
I can't remember what his name is now, but I'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts here on Lincoln Academy basketball? It's going to be another great winter. I thought last winter, how could it be any better? Lincoln was great. Madomic was very, very competitive. Oceanside was outstanding.
Yeah.
Camden was pretty dang
Yeah.
good. Kept coming on. 4 teams right there in the Midcoast.
Should be same thing.
And the girls were no slouches either.
No.
know?
No, and I think our girls, talking about that, I think our girls, they're not going to be the part of the elite, but they're in that mediocre where they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams, and could upset
Any given night.
Could upset somebody. So.
Any given night.
Yep, for sure.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think we're just get rolling here.
Well, that was pretty good. But I want to go one more thing. I want to get into. You have one of the smaller gyms now. Lincoln Academy gym was the first year was 1966 when I was a freshman there.
Yeah.
That was the opening gym. Do you see that as an advantage or disadvantage?
Well, if it's like it was last year, it's an advantage. I mean, so we're actually going to scrimmage Mount Ararat tonight, and I was talking to their assistant coach, and he was upset that he wasn't coming to our place because he loves it. He says the atmosphere is better there than anywhere he plays.
Well, the fans are right
they're
on
right
top.
It's just like almost
it's
like
old style.
It's almost
basketball.
like Duke, being in Cameron. They are and they've been rowdy. We've had a lot of kids coming and and really cheering us on. And I tell you, our kids.
Student support last year was fantastic.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so it's it's a lot
like
of
a
fun
6-man
playing.
almost.
It is. It's a lot of fun playing there. Yeah, the kids love it.
Do you see that as an advantage?
I don't know. I mean, you still have to play the game. I mean, sometimes we come in a little overhyped there. Like we come up and a little overexcited, and I feel like we played our best game, a lot of our better games on the road. I mean, the Madomics, for instance.
That was textbook perfect.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like we're. I don't feel like it's a huge advantage to us. I mean, they like playing there. We love it, but it's one of those things where we have to play the game, and they're high school kids. Sometimes they play. Sometimes you got to really pull it out of them.
That's why they're kids and they play the game.
Yep.
Well, Coach Ball, I want to wish you the best of luck this winter. LCTV will be there for the 32nd year. Rod and Chris are going to be calling your games.
Yep.
Haven will be doing the camera work, and we're excited about it. We have our instant replay that we're working real hard on. So
Awesome.
So we want to thank all the fans at home for sponsoring the high school basketball, and it's really turned into a really special thing for us at LCTV.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Coach Ball, thank you, and good luck this winter.
Thank you.
Folks, that'll wrap up this episode of High School Hoops. I'm Larry Seidlinger. My special guest has been longtime varsity coach at Lincoln Academy, Ryan Ball, and we wish him and the Eagles the best of luck. We're going to have a long season. We're going to have every game will be right here at LCTV and at home anyway, and hopefully we'll get on the road and see 1 or 2 there. Thanks for watching, and catch us next time. Monday nights, with special thanks out to Hager Enterprises and Bass Savings for sponsoring this episode of High School Hoops. Thanks for watching, folks. See you next time.
At Bath Savings, you know us for our exceptional customer service. And that service extends to our secure online and mobile banking solutions, so you can feel comfortable accessing and managing your accounts wherever you are. And it's all backed by the same personalized customer service from neighbors right here in your community. To learn more about Bath Savings online and mobile banking solutions, visit bathsavings.com. Bath Savings, your neighbor, your bank.
Hager Enterprises, a paving and excavation contractor specializing in all sorts of site work, utility installations, and road construction since 1987.